Oh, is that a win? No, 3 ball. That's a good start, isn't it? Yeah, this is the finale of the solar panel saga. Stay tuned. This is Ralph's house.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Welcome to Ralph's house!
If you've been watching Ralph's house, you know I had these old wooden rotten doors out here. But not anymore. Yeah, I've got them fitted. And I'm going to have to paint all this brickwork again, aren't I? That'll be an interesting thing. Either that or, I don't know, line it. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these. Fitted by First Home Improvements Limited. And apart from a few issues we had in terms of getting this arch right, they came and fitted the whole thing, and I have to say the difference is staggering. I knew these doors were a problem when I first moved in here, and in the winter it proved to be a major problem, because as soon as you stood in the hallway, you came downstairs, it was cold because so much was being lost through the front and you know, around the joins of the door, that sort of stuff. But these are absolutely great. I cannot fault them. Silence. Good stuff, isn't it? Yeah, so they're in. So all that remains for me to do, I think, is this bit of concrete here, and this is the step. I shall probably paint that with tile paint, which is more or less that colour, isn't it? I've already started to really scrub these tiles, and when I think I've got them up to that'll be interesting cleaning that bit. When I've got them up to, you know, a really good clean state, I'm going to put some tile sealer on it. My father in the past put this metal ridge across here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that with a UPVC windowsill cover, which will actually cover the complete step. It would tidy it up a little bit. But yes, really happy with that. I won't say how much it cost. It wasn't cheap, but they did a fantastic job, and there's some things that I think you have to accept that perhaps you can't do, and you've got to bite the bullet and pay out the money, and that's what happened in this case. And I don't really know why my father, when he lived here, didn't have them done. You know, it really makes sense to, you know, have some kind of shield between the outside world. These porch doors, the original ones, here's a bit of footage, were not good. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, welcome back to Ralph's house. I'm not actually in Ralph's house, I'm at my parents' house. Well, my mother's and my stepfather's. And sadly, my stepfather, Michael Ames, died in October, which was a real shock to all of us. And my mother, who had fallen down the stairs some months ago off her chairlift, you know, heroically, like a cartwheel, didn't do herself a lot of good, broke her knee, and I think she had a stroke at the same time. Anyway, she's deteriorating rapidly, and has got dementia, and she's now in a nursing home. So this is another one of these events in life when you have to clear a house after someone has died, and that's pretty much the same here, but and not easy to do. My mother was an avid reader. This is only one room. Books were her friends, she said. Yeah, they are, until you've got to get rid of them. And then it's a bit of a problem. I'm not sure what to do about these, really. The problem is, you know, I'm stacked up with stuff my end. There's only so much you can take. But she has got these doll's houses, which are rather special, actually. Let's give you a little tour. I guess that's the bathroom. It's gloomy in there. Yeah, it's a mouse house. Look, with all the beds and all that's, yeah, all the baby bottles and stuff like that. Coming downstairs. Yeah. Stunning thing, isn't it? And fully furnished, it has to be said. And it does have lighting as well. Oh, and it has got staircases. That's quite good. Yeah, there's obviously the kitchen. Look, they've got the cornflakes ready for the morning. And right up on the roof, there you go. Because my mother had a parrot that colour called Max. So there's that one. And if I was going to put a guess on that, I don't know, 1,500 probably. And there's another one as well. This one, which is sort of partly on the way. I think she was working on it. I don't know if she... Oh yeah, look. In the attic. Actually, I didn't look at the attic on the other one. I presume it lifts. I've not tried. Oh yeah, one more extra step. They were working on it. So that's the attic. Yeah. Nice things indeed. Anyway, today I've got to pack this up. Hence the reason I'm sort of trying to photograph it a bit so we know where everything goes, or at least where my mother put it, and can assemble it at the other end. So today's job is, because I've got 3 sisters, well 2 sisters now, and really by rights this should go to the girls, but I don't think they're that interested. It's a bit of a shame. So I've ended up with the doll's house. Not that I didn't play with one when I was little, because I did, because my sisters had one. We all had to go with it. So for now, until I work out what on earth we're going to do with it, I'm going to put it at the top of my stairs, because I've got a chest that it will sit on. And if we do get a little girl come round, well, she's just going to flip, isn't she? So maybe it's no bad thing. Who knows? Christmas stuff. Yeah, nightmare to do all this. Oh, a spare mouse with a hat. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit the doll's house, does he? Yeah, so my son and I are here today. First of all, we're going to do is deconstruct this and get this into the car as a starter. Not the easiest thing. And must be very careful and put everything in a carrier bag. Carry that separately. Somewhere in this house, a while ago, I came across, because I like Jerome K. Jerome, who wrote 3 Men in a Boat, and I came across a Jerome K. Jerome book which I had never seen, never read. And the day I got it, and it was a mistake, I came round here and I said, oh, I found a Jerome K. Jerome book I'd never read. And she went, oh, can I borrow it? I thought, yeah, all right. And we haven't found it since. It's somewhere in this house, and it's that sort of size. But it's going to be a nightmare going through here trying to find it, isn't it? But, you know, she'd got books on absolutely everything. She liked history as well, especially royal history. She found the history of the royals quite fascinating. Who wouldn't? Yeah. It's a brass fire guard. Actually, that might work at mine. My front room's going to be a bit steampunky. We will see. The main thing is my sister-in-law and I have got to clear this house. And here's another eye-opener in the front room. And the sun's just coming out. But thankfully, I think my sister-in-law's claimed this. There are various prams in this house, Silver Cross ones. Anybody in the know will know what they mean. There's also a complete 4-poster bed. I have sort of chewed over the idea of taking it on, but I don't know. The only trouble with 4-poster beds is they get dusty on top, you know what I mean? There's a spider, yeah, there is a spider. And then we'll go in the back. More books. There's books everywhere in this house. They've got a lot of bread flour, which is going to be really good because my son and I really like homemade baked bread. Not the old-fashioned way, but, you know, in a bread maker. And flour is really expensive at the moment, and they'd obviously bought quite a lot. At the back there's an N-gauge railway, which actually is mine. And I think it will just fit in my boot. There's also a steam cleaner under there. I want to take that because we urgently need one of those. And yeah, just generally going through stuff. My sister-in-law, Gretchen, she's been really amazing because she's managed to get down a lot of this stuff, whittle it down. But it's difficult, isn't it? When you're dealing with somebody's belongings, you know, it's passed on. There's a sort of guilt, you know, especially when you put it in the bin. More books. But it's something you've got to do. All these big buckets. My stepfather Mike used to keep bees, and which was a joy for my son, whose feet are standing there, because he used to do set honey from rapeseed. He used to take his beehives out, and that was his favourite honey, set honey. I'm with him there, actually. These bed frames can go out for the scrap man, can't they? That's how we'll get rid of those. He was also it's interesting all this, isn't it? He was also a wood turner, so he's got a lot of blanks in various types of wood, which I think we'll be able to find a home for. Because of a friend who's into wood, he'll make good use of it, which is what we'd like, really. And lots of CD-ROMs. People don't use them now, do they? Since we've gone to MP3s. Anyway, back to Ralph's house. This is just a bit of an aside, but I just thought I'd show you. I'm going to tell you a little story. This is a minor diversion, but I think I'll tell you it anyway. Now, I've long held the belief that if you lose something in your life, and possibly even if you sold something in your life and you regretted it afterwards, it doesn't matter how many years elapse, you'll want it back, because it will come back and nag you, and you might forget about it for weeks, you might forget about it for years, and then that thought will come back again. That's certainly true if you've ever owned a Volkswagen. But when I was about 5, which would have been 1964, because I'm in my 60s now, I used to go to my grandma's in Nuneaton. Now, sometimes I'd go with my sister, Libby, who has actually appeared in Ralph's house a few times. Adore me, sister. We are very, very different personalities, but we're very fond of each other. And that's a lovely thing, isn't it, through life, really. I did have 2 other sisters, but there was a longer gap, well, I don't know, a year and a half before they came along. And they were very sort of insular, you know, they were like peas in a pod, they went everywhere together. But quite a lot of the time, I used to go to my grandma's on my own. I'd be dropped off or whatever. And my grandma particularly liked boys. And sometimes she'd take me down the market and that sort of stuff. But I love going to Lillian's because my parents really struggled in their early years. And I remember there were holes, literally, in the walls where the back of the house was. And it was all bare brick in there, I remember that. And it was all stuffed up with newspaper. But because we didn't have a television and we didn't have anything to compare it to, we just thought everybody lived like that. And until I went to me grandma's, you see, and her place was quite sumptuous, and she loved bright colours, so it was just a nice place to go when you're small. But she had 1 or 2 things that I liked to play with. One was a brass bell, you know, the sort of thing you'd find on a shop counter. I like to ding that, and I have inherited that, thankfully. But there was something else that she had that I loved to play with, and she'd never let me take it home. She'd always say, it'll be there for next time. And it was a little red bus. Now, this, like I say, this was about 1964, but I knew this bus was quite old even then. And I decided the other day, I'm not going to have this thought come through my head every so often about this bus. It leaves a hole in your life, it does. So I thought I'd do something about it. So I went online to try and find it. Now, I knew it was a Lesney product, you know, the Matchbox. I think it was called Lesney Moco back then. But I worked it out that they'd made about 4 buses, Lesney, all quite similar and all based around, and it's called a number 5 in the Lesney series. Now, I'm not going to get anarchy about this. In the process of trying to find this bus, I've had to sit through so many videos of Matchbox car enthusiasts, and I think, no, I'm not going to go down this road. It's expensive and I don't see the point. It's like people who collect porcelain pigs, you know. Your house ends up filled up with them, and then you get to the end and you think, why did I buy all those? So I don't want to go down that route. No, I just wanted that bus. And I discovered that it was actually made in 1954. So it was 10 years old when I used to play with it. So I looked online and found one in very play-worn condition. And there it is. It's the number 5 bus. And as I say, I adored this bus. Lesney later, Matchbox, they put seats in, up and down, to make it more authentic. But I never minded that. I just loved this bus. And the other reason I liked it is in the Midlands we had buses called Midland Red. And the 658 bus that went from Coventry to Leicester stopped at Nuneaton. And it was that colour. So it was probably that association, going to my grandma's on the red bus, why it stuck in my mind. Anyway, as with all Matchbox stuff, a lot of people restore them. There's a guy in Australia, I think his name's Marty, he does them on a regular basis and does a fantastic job of it. But I'm thinking, yeah, I could get the decals to replace on the sides, but do I want to? I think there's something nice about the fact that this is play-worn, probably by lots of other kids as well, who probably also love this bus. So I'm going to leave it exactly as it is, like that. That is the Lesney number 5 bus. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.